Hey guys, Jason here with a word to the wise. I want to touch on a couple things, but I want to touch on Isaiah 30. I said to make sure, because I know that I'm kind of dancing around in the 20s also in Isaiah, but 30 and 31 are, I think, something that's very interesting. I'll probably do a couple little videos here and there on that. Let me see what I got. Oh, I might have I'll have to get my Bible because I think I knocked it off what I had going here. There's Ezekiel, Isaiah. I got this English Standard Bible, and the problem I'm having with it is the pages are so thin. I can see the writing on the other side and the writing on the other page next to that page, the next page over. So I have to put something in between them. Otherwise, I'm seeing the pages are all just smudgy looking because there's so much writing, or typing, I should say. I definitely don't. So I want to touch on, I saw On Point Preparedness has come back. He's been gone for like 2 months, so it's just I want to touch on a couple of things in his video. But looking at Revelations, end times, I believe when you go through this, you'll see a lot of the end times, last day being spoken of, or in the times of trouble. But when you look in the King James works, and I want to show you guys the actual Hebrew as it is translated in our present day on Bible Hub. But Isaiah verse 30, or chapter 30, verse 1. Let me just show you. Ah, stubborn children, declares the Lord, who carry out a plan, but not mine, who make an alliance, but not by my spirit, who set up to go down to Egypt without asking for my direction, to take refuge in the protection of Pharaoh, and to seek shelter in the shadow of Egypt. Now, Isaiah 19, which is an oracle concerning Egypt, and it's very wordy, as in Matthew 24, talking in Matthew 24 where it speaks of was it nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. And I will stir up the Egyptians. So this is chapter 19 verse 2. And I will stir up Egyptian against Egyptian, and they shall fight against each other, each against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of the Egyptians within them will be emptied out, and I will confound their counsel, and they will inquire of their idols and their sorcerers, and their mediums and their necromancers. And I will give over to the Egyptians into the hand of a hard master and a fierce king who will rule over them, declares the Lord of hosts. And interestingly, it also talks about, and the waters of the sea will be dried up, and the rivers will be dry and parched, and its canals will become foul. And what do you see in the trumpets and in the bowls? The seas, the rivers, and springs. But I will give the Egyptians over to the hand of a hard master, and a fierce king will rule over them. I wonder if this is also similar, if not the same, to 2 Thessalonians, as concerning the world. You know, look at how our dollar bill has the pyramid. Look at our architecture in our capital cities and in many other capitals around this, around America, all keeping very Romanesque. Luckily, nobody decided to build pyramids. It would have been a little too obvious, I believe. But looking at that, Isaiah chapter 30, Oh, I gotta putting together a little video I gotta show you guys too. It's pretty crazy. So this is the Hebrew, and then it's translated. Woe to the sons, to the rebellious sons. This is Hebrew written backward, and it's kind of spotty in its translation. Woe to the rebellious sons, says Yahweh, who take counsel but not of me, and who devise plans but not of my spirit, that may add sin to sin. So look at all the evil, obvious evil. What is going wrong? Look at all the problems in the world right now. And look at those people in the back calling out. I mean, it's amazing that you watch American news channels and they're so on board with whatever's going on. The Rainbow Month we're in, the presidential decisions, not questioning narratives or anything that's really going on, not asking the hard questions, no more investigative reporting. Tucker Carlson's not even on the news anymore, and he was probably one of the closest things we had left. And I know he's definitely on, he's just kind of the flip side of the same coin. But and this leads me to On Point Preparedness, but if you watch like Sky Australian News, and I know that they're like Tucker Carlson, kind of a flip side of the same coin, and they just sit there looking over at us, and they're just calling out everything ridiculous, calling it ridiculous, and yet, our own news can't talk like that. But Americans see that. If you're watching YouTube, it's just comical to see the things that they speak about our country. And it seems the UK, I don't know what's really going on over there, but it's kind of quieted down. I know there's another Great Britain news network or something like that, and they kind of ask hard questions, and you see a lot of their own parliaments and Canadian parliament stuff. But here again, I've said this many times, it's watching the demise of our country, and I think that we're being put up to be some sort of a Babylonian, oh, look at how they have fallen, that just like in the Bible, Revelation 18 said this was going to happen, and that's America. I think On Point Preparedness has spoken about this for years now, about this rebellious nature that's being built up in America. And if we are kind of like the defenders of the world, and if, in our own view, and I'm sure the world looks at us in many aspects as like, we are just as bad as the bad guys. Because, here we are just steamrolling into places, doing immense amount of damage, and we just throw some money at them after we're all done and say, oh, well, you're welcome. But I don't want to go off on tangents. But I feel that it goes to a certain degree, a certain point, and then all of a sudden, next year we have elections, things like that. Will Trump get voted in? Will they somehow just be like, oh, well, guess what? Biden won with a landslide. Trump wasn't even close. He got 10% of the votes. And then people are going to go ape. You know what it means. And they're going to go crazy just saying, no, we know now that this is complete, malarkey. And then will the people just be at some boiling point where they'll just say, no, it's time, we stand up and raise up and we take matters into our own hands, and we have to bring down these tyrants who are not going to, quit this destroying of America, and our kids are going to these schools and look what they're doing. And there's just so much people can take before it just goes. And I would love nothing more than to see Days of Noah. And I made a comment on a video that he made, and I was the first and only commenter I think I saw on the community post. And I hope he read that, and I hope it's something that kind of is working its way on there. I'm watching a video he just made, and he didn't speak about it. I don't see anything so far. I'm only halfway through of the 4-hour video, but it would be interesting if on point preparedness, he has a great biblical view and discernment and discerning what's going on in the world and not rushing into things. I think it's very important to have that kind of a mentality, not to run into all these crazy things that are going through our news, through social media. Don't jump on any bandwagons that are out there. You know, always keep that in mind. Vengeance is not ours. I don't care what alien poppycock is the huge thing. Doesn't, you know, week to week, you know, you see some of these major news network, you know, social media, like Redacted is a big issue right now. I see a lot of people talking about, but people like that talk about, you know, these aliens are the huge thing, and then it's like next week it's like, oh, there's a volcano about to erupt under San Francisco, and then the next day it's like, oh, look what DeSantis is doing, and it's like, so you're waiting for like, okay, well, what about the volcano in San Francisco under the streets that there's like lava moving through their sewer systems, and it's like nobody touches that anymore. You know, it's like, wait, weren't you just saying that like Russians and China were like on the Canadian border waiting to invade America, like, and then the next day it moves on to something else. Like these social media giants are just spouting all this rubbish, and the next day it's out of sight, out of mind, and they just move on. It's like, you can't just say these things and not, you know, have something else to back it up, or, you know, redact your own comments and say that, well, we were wrong. I guess we thought that was happening, but it was just a wagon trail or train that was going on, or who knows. But seeing Days of Noah's technocracy movement and seeing the rebellious things that On Point Preparedness is sharing, you put those things together, and it makes me wonder if it's all going to move into some sort of a divide. North versus south, red versus blue, you know, some sort of a right versus left, and they're going to force people to choose a side. And what side are you going to be on? And is it going to be safe to even move around state to state because of the, you know, the rights or the lefts, and, you know, what these people, and there's going to be so many people stuck in the middle of all this that can't just get up and move to some, you know, decided, you know, safe sanctuary states or cities, or, you know, oh, well, now I'm going to be stuck in this place where I'm a rightist and they're all leftist, and they're going to, you know, I'll be hated by my own community and my own people, and I can't go to the grocery store because yada, yada, yada. But how could this, you know, possibly move on? And then you have a stronger side against the, you know, the other, and then it's like, it's, you know, it's almost like Star Wars, where you had the, you know, the rebels that are trying to fight against the Republic, and the, you know, the elite dark side, whatever. I can't remember all the different, I thought the names changed, like they were one thing and then it turned into the Republic, and then it was the, you know, whatever. But the Skywalkers and all those good guys, Han Solo, they were always, you know, the smaller group that's constantly fighting, but they're strong, but they're small, but world, galaxy wide, they were strong in numbers. So seeing this, and I'll read it one more time. You know, woe to the rebellious sons, says Yahweh, who take counsel but not of me, and who devise plans but not of my spirit, that may add sin to sin, taking vengeance for themselves, trying to build back peaceful times when it only is going to get worse. How that darkness rolls out, darkness many times is evil, right? The dark side, the evil side. And so, you know, just like that one coin, from that timepiece land, it makes me wonder, will the people be deceived into some sort of a rebellious nature, thinking that they are going to reform, reconstruct, make things good again during a time of tribulations when they ought not? But they should accept whatever fate is rolling in. But the powers that be, the elites, the dark side, whatever, the good side, what is that going to be? Is the good side only going to be, in reality, those who are saying, we are not to sit here and be trying to build back better or make America great again. Like, we are in a time of trouble. And now, if you're not trying to help out and trying to rebuild and not turning in your neighbor who's doing bad things or social, crediting, you're not with us, you're against us. And the same thing Jesus said, if you're not with me, you're against me. And what is it where he talks about the divide? I will bring a sword and I will cause division between a father and his son, a man and a woman, her mother-in-law and the daughter, and paraphrasing here. But I'll just kind of leave it at that. It was great to see On Point Preparedness back. It was 2 months of not being around. Something that really hit home in the beginning of his video was, I think it was called Another Wave Coming or Another Wave Building. But he speaks in the beginning, he's like, you know what, I'm not feeling led. And I feel like I'm kind of spinning my wheels right now, or I'm kind of just, I'm in a stillness. And I thought I instantly picked up and I started making a comment. I'm like, I have made, sometimes I've made videos every single day in my past, and then I've tried to dial it back and try to do maybe one a week. And then lately it's like I'm making a video, or I'm kind of seeing something that maybe I should speak on, and I just can't put it down. I can't get it out. I can't, I'm just not feeling strong enough to even do it. A flock of birds just flew over top of me like a bunch of pigeons or doves or something. But it's just maybe I'm supposed to be sitting around waiting, not to be doing too much. And like I said, I don't want to run down these alien rabbit holes. I think it's comical, which is why I make the videos, so that way I can sit there and say, hey, don't get caught up in this, because there's a million different things you can question and ask people, and the answers are just mind-blowing. You can't make an answer. Why if there's an atmosphere, ozone, and we're going through space and there's a vacuum of space, how is it that the vacuum isn't strong enough of infinite space to then just suck the air right off of our planet, or skim the top off of an area of oxygen or an ozone, and just all of a sudden a whole continent could just get wiped clean because of the density of space has somehow broken its way through? Never happens. Never has happened. Times, clocks, calendars have run perfectly, even though we're tumbling through space like a pool ball that's kind of warbling down a pool table. It never rolls over one way or the other. People talking about, the poles are shifting and ready to flip and it's going to cause this. It's not going to happen. But when the times of trouble and God is set and ready to bring wrath on this world, oh, you better believe they'll sit there and say, this is what we're talking about through our science all this time. But I'll leave it at that. I'll be back. Just a word to the wise. I don't want, like I said, I don't want to ramble too much, but God bless, guys. Great to see On Point Preparedness back. Amen.